Hey, so really great to have so many of you here. I'm going to talk about here today about startups and how startups should approach building products. Nestholma just talk about very little. Nestholma helps banks and financial institutions to work with startups. So if you're a bank or insurance company or something like that, come and talk to me if you really want to work with startups and make business out of it. But now to startups. And if you learned something here today, please go to Twitter, tweet about it if there's even one interesting thing. Or if you think I'm full of you know what, you can do that as well. But so how do you build great products in startups? There are people like Richard Branson. I highly respect him. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs ever. You can learn so much from him. He says that, just do it. Or you can get advice from Mr. Jobs. That if you just try hard enough, you will get there. Okay, so I think we are a bit in a short of time, but so that's it. In a couple of minutes, I'm actually through with my talk. Well, maybe there's something more to that. A lot of these sort of the inspirational talks to startups talk about only those things. If you try hard enough, you will succeed. The fact is that most startups fail. They listen to that advice, but still they fail. So there must be something other than those kinds of things. There has been a lot of opinions and studies on that. One of the views is that number one reason is that startups do too much before they know what to do. So they write too many lines of code. They take too much money as investments. They hire too many people. They expand to too many geographies. They support too many platforms before they actually know what is it that they should do. So what are the best practices in order to avoid that? What are some of the things that you should do? So first of all, you have to look inside yourself. As a startup founder, what is it that you really want to do? One view is that what some people say that, hey, maybe there's something you really love, and then there's something that you're really good at. Does anyone know what that is? It's a hobby, because there's something missing. The customer is missing there. If you don't find a customer for that, then it's a hobby for you that you should pursue. But it's not a business idea for you. Then if you find the customers and you actually love that area, but you don't really know how to contribute, you don't have any capabilities in that, maybe you should be buying the same product from someone else who really knows how to do that. And the third option, obviously, is that you're really good at something and there are customers who love it, but you don't really love it. And that's your 9-to-5 job. But when you combine these three things, that's for you personally, there is where you should find your startup. That is where you'll usually find that. You have something to contribute, you love the area, and there are customers for that. So, of course, that was about you, but you also need a great team. When you talk to investors, they will tell you that, yes, the team is really important. So, how to do that? Dave McClure from the 500 Startups has, I think, the best definition for that. You need the hacker, so person that can code, do the code on a daily basis, and the person, the hustler, who can sell and be with the customers, and the designer who makes the products in a way that people want to use them. So you need the diversity and complementary skills. If you have two coders, if you have two business developers, if you have two designers, it doesn't work like that. You have to find the people. Don't outsource the essential capabilities. Find those inside your team. And also, don't build too big of a team too early, because this is certainly going to put you in the path of failure. If you have 10 people before you know what is really the product, it's probably you have too many people. Keep the team small so that everyone is accountable for really making it successful. So now you're set for you understand what you want to do. There's a market for that. There are customers for something like that. You have the team. So how do you go about that? How to find your product? You have to trust your instincts. If you have the other stuff lined up, you have to trust that, okay, maybe I can contribute here, something here. And also, of course, you need to also listen to others. Like events like these, you will find a lot of people that can help you by helping you to understand the market better and so forth. But remember that it's really hard to predict the future. So even a person who has done Unicorn, a billion-dollar company, they may not be able to predict what was the next great thing. So that is really hard. And you have to trust your instincts as well, even if you have to listen to others. So you have to be the entrepreneur. Being a startup founder is about entrepreneurship. You have to be the person who makes the decisions. Even if you have the investors, don't blindly go and listen to them. If you go to so for example, myself, I've helped hundreds and hundreds of startup founders, and I've invested in the 40 companies. I know a lot about a lot of stuff, but still, every time I talk to a startup, I say that, yes, I know something about these things, but you have to make the decisions. You have to be the one to set the path. You're the startup founder. You're the entrepreneur. You have to take the path yourself. But so, you need the idea. Of course, having the idea is great, but as many people say, the execution is really what matters. You have to know where to take that and how. You have to really make it and implement that. It's not, a lot of people tell me that, yes, I had the YouTube idea way before they did. Well, good for you, but they made a business out of it. So who cares that you had the YouTube idea before them? So, and for example, Facebook, lots of people had the same idea before Facebook, but Facebook became the biggest social network in the world, and the same idea without really anything special in them. And then we have lots of other companies really making a big business out of the same idea with Instagram, with WhatsApp, and all the others. So even if it's an old idea, you can find a twist that makes sense, and you can satisfy a customer need that others haven't done before. So the customer need, how do you figure that out? How do you figure what is the thing that you should be doing? Well, some claim that you learn nothing by asking the customers, such as, well, this never was actually said by Henry Ford, according to historians, but it's a great story. So the thing is that a lot of people say that you shouldn't ask customers because they don't know what is the product they need. Steve Jobs said the same thing. A lot of people tell me this all the time. But let's take an example. What is the problem this guy has? Does anyone know? Any guess? What is that?
He's late. He's missing his bus.
Yeah. So he's missing his bus. And the problem could be that he has to take his dog out every morning. The problem could be that he has marital problems. The problem could be that he has a bad cell phone. He doesn't have a timetable. A number of things. And as an entrepreneur, you're looking at the world, seeing all kinds of problems in the world, and then making assumptions on what could be the reason, and then making products based on those assumptions. So, while it's true that the customers cannot usually tell what is the product, so they probably cannot tell you that, okay, I need the car, but they can tell you what is the problem they have. And that is why you need to talk to customers, not because you need to get them to tell you what is the product you should build, because you're the inventor, you're the entrepreneur who should make the product, who should have the idea, who should have the vision, but your customers will be able to tell you what are the problems they have, and you make the business out of that. And you have to figure out what are the problems worth solving? What are the things that the world is full of problems, and you have to figure out, are they big enough that I should spend my time and potentially my money and life with this particular problem? One thing really important, pretty much every startup that I've ever worked with, they try to do too many features in their products. And they spend too much time before launching. LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman famously said that you should launch early. You should be embarrassed by the first version. And if you're not, you've launched too late. You waited too long to get those learnings. Because when you launch, you get those learnings. What is it that your product really should do? Because if you noticed that I'm quoting a lot of the big thinkers of our century, and obviously Mike Tyson is one of them. He said that everyone has a plan, but when you get punched in the face, you will change your plan. And that is the thing with startups. If you don't launch early, you will lose that. You will be punched in the face at the later stage, and you will change your plan anyway. So it's better to get that as early as possible in order to save your money, your life, your sanity, your money, your investors' money. So launch early. And when you launch early, a lot of times you end up doing a pivot. A lot of times you end up changing the direction to a different place. Mark Andreessen said that this used to be called the fuck up. So in a lot of cultures still, people consider bankruptcies or changing the direction as failures. I know I come from Finland. That used to be very much the case. I don't know how it's like in Poland, for example. But for example, in the U.S., when people make bankruptcies, it's not the end of the world, but it's something where you can learn. You can learn about what you should do next. What are the things you should concentrate on? What are the things you should leave away? And remember, some of the best companies in the world have come out of pivots. These companies never started out the way they are there right now. They started with a different idea, but learned from the market, learned from the customers, and made a difference. And obviously, you have to think that, are you making a difference? And what kind of a difference are you making? Is there really the opportunity that you're looking for? Are you really making a difference in people's lives, in companies' lives? Are you making an impact? Because right now, you're a startup founder. You're spending your money, your time, your life with this thing. Is it worth it? So, too many times, I talk to startups that say that, yes, my friends liked it. I think it's a great product. We haven't validated it, or we have validated this with my friends. My mother liked it. But that's not enough. It's not enough that your mother or your friends like it. Your customers need to love it. So you need to have people who actually love your product. You need to have people that think that your product makes a difference in their lives and they couldn't live without it. It's not enough if they give you a like in Facebook or if they say that, yes, this is nice. You have to aim for being a big part in their lives. That is where the big companies are. That is where the Apples, the Ubers, the Googles and Facebooks of the world are. That is where you should aim, not to get your friends like it. And finally, every startup is about growth. You have to design the growth from the day one. Paul Graham, the Y Combinator co-founder, said that startup is something that's where the growth is built in. Everything you do as a startup is about growth. Or if it's not about growth, you shouldn't do it. And there are a couple of things that you should think, how you should think about it. First of all, the scalable startup test. Is there something in your product that actually makes a difference, actually makes it grow by itself? It could be viral growth or it could be something else. But is it something that you can make it grow and have a sustainable growth? Or can you get growth only by doing advertising? There's nothing wrong with putting money into advertising, but the advertising should bring you additional growth, not just the bumps that you can always get more visitors to your website, but you should really get those people that you are able to attract through paid advertising. You should get them to stick with your service, to contribute to your bottom line. And where is the point? What's the scaling moment? What's the growth moment for you? Many of you may know the Steve Blank search and execute phases of startups and the product market fit. And the way I like to think about it, so for example, let's take investments and marketing. So before you have actually found your product market fit in the early stage, when you're searching for the idea, then you're looking at doing, for example, from the investment point of view, you're talking with angel investors. From a marketing point of view, you're doing inbound marketing. You're doing social marketing. You're not paying for big amount of money for getting people to your site. But then when you find the product market fit, you can start. You have something that you know that will scale. You have validated that I have a scalable model. Then you can go and start spending money on the paid advertising as well, because now you know how to scale your growth with that advertising. And investment, the same thing. You can go and talk to a VC and say that, hey, I have a scalable way of growing my company. If you put $1 million here, I know how to make that bigger. And if you can make that happen, if you can find the product market fit and not scaled before that, I think you're in good shape for really making a difference. That was all I had today. Thank you for your attention. Again, if you have anything, connect with me in Twitter. I'd love to hear your views and continue the discussion. Thank you.